Perplexed by Yi Xian's actions, Lanren inquired if Yi Xian is calling his master before lunging at him, questioning if he thinks he would give him that opportunity. However, to Lanren's surprise, the now sinister-looking Yi Xian effortlessly intercepted his oncoming punch. Lanren's uncertainty becomes evident, his thoughts racing as he realizes that Yi Xian had ascended to the Dharma realm in an instant, pondering how such a feat was possible. The possessed Yi Xian laughs maniacally, before brutally breaking Lanren's arm with ease. At this moment, Lanren realizes that the person is no longer Yi Xian and questioned its identity. However, the demonic being wasted no time and followed up with a devastating punch to Lanren's stomach, causing Lanren to realize his impending demise as the being clutched his face. The previously arrogant Lanren was now pleading for mercy, but it only served as entertainment for the demonic being. It stared at him with a menacing grin before crushing his skull, laughing maniacally as it discarded his lifeless body to the ground. With newfound freedom, the demonic being relished in the sensation of breathing the air and extending its arms. Then, shifting its attention to the side, the demonic being suddenly fixated on Tubayan's body, deeming her as Yi Xian's wife. With an oddly reluctant and irritated remark, the being surprisingly directed a surge of qi at her body, suggesting that Yi Xian should consider it a gift for setting it free. Following this, Yi Xian's body was surrounded by a light that reached up to the sky, suggesting the demonic beings depart from his body. As consciousness returned to his body, Yi Xian couldn't help but remark on the malevolent nature of the demonic being. To his astonishment, Yi Xian discovered that Tubayan had miraculously regained her consciousness. As Yi Xian embraced her tightly, Tubayan couldn't help but wonder how she was still alive. In response, Yi Xian remarked that it was because he couldn't bear to see her die. Gently caressing her cheek, Yi Xian asked her why she had blocked the attack. Blushing slightly, Tubayan retorted that had she known it would cost her life, she might have thought twice, implying he shouldn't be too presumptuous. Yi Xian blushed in response, pointing out her awareness of Lan Ren's cultivation and her prioritization of his safety. Given these facts, Yi Xian inquired if it was possible that she had feelings for him. In response, Tubayan didn't deny it but simply remarked that he can think what he wants. Yi Xian thanked her, causing Tubayan to blush even more. However, in her attempt to escape the embarrassment, she warned Yi Xian not to be overly thankful, as it might lead to him becoming obligated to repay a heavy price. Not taking her words too seriously, Yi Xian asked if they would see each other again and invited her for a drink next time they meet. However, Tubayan simply warned him not to show up in front of her again as she left the place. On the following day, while the civilians were busy recovering from the aftermath of the war, Yi Xian and the ninth princess smiled with optimism. Yi Xian revealed that both the Chu and Yu kingdoms had surrendered. As for the Middle Kingdom, Yi Xian believed they would not send anyone else for the time being. He suggested that the ninth princess rest in the palace in the following days. The ninth princess thanked him in response, noting that if it weren't for him, the war would have continued for a long time. Changing the topic, the ninth princess informed him that the Black Flame Army had more than 100 sets of top-grade equipment, and suggested that he should take it. Yi Xian expressed his surprise and admitted that he had been thinking about how to discuss this matter with her. In response, the ninth princess speculated if he wanted to form a Black Flame Army. Yi Xian affirmed, and the ninth princess voiced her support in helping him choose the best men to build such an army. In response, Yi Xian expressed his approval, praising Xiao Jiao for her kindness. At that moment, Mu Yun informed him that they were almost ready to leave and asked when they would depart. Yi Xian responded excitedly, remarking that they would leave immediately. However, Ban Zwang's lover interjected, demanding that they wait. Yi Xian inquired if she had something to say. In response, Ban Zwang's lover accused Yi Xian of trying to trick her baby into joining his Kanglin Academy. She added that she knew what he had in mind and speculated that he intended to do something to her baby because she was cute and lovely. However, Ban Zwang quickly silenced her and dragged her away, demanding her to shut up. Lin Han bid them farewell, suggesting that they should meet again in the Middle Kingdom in the future. As they journeyed back to the Kanglin Academy, Mu Yun expressed his anticipation that Anji must have prepared a delicious meal for their return, given the warm reception she was waiting to give them. Bai Zhe hesitated and voiced his reluctance, stating that he wouldn't dare to eat her cooking. Yi Xian concurred, sharing Bai Zai's sentiment by remarking that he also wouldn't dare to consume Anji's culinary creations. Mu Yun retorted, reminding them that their comments were impolite. He mentioned that Anji had not been idle during their absence, managing the academy and learning to cook. Mu Yun insisted that her cooking might not be worse than that of the bandits. However, Yi Xian remained skeptical. At that moment, a striking lady carrying an intricate umbrella came into view, inquiring about the whereabouts of Yi Xian. Yi Xian, curious about her identity, asked for clarification, and the lady realized that he was the person she sought. With a graceful motion, the lady closed her umbrella and hurled it toward Yi Xian with incredible force. Observing this, Yi Xian deduced that the lady was a skilled kendo practitioner. Using the manifestation of his sword intent, Yi Xian successfully shielded himself from her attack. Retreating slightly from the shock of their encounter, the lady inwardly criticized her own carelessness. However, as she regained her footing, she confirmed the rumor that Yi Xian was indeed a master of the sword. Surprised, Yi Xian asked if she was from Kangmu Academy. The lady denied it and introduced herself as Jian Chuchu from the sword family. She explained that she had heard of his reputation as a sword master and had traveled a great distance to challenge him to a sparring match. Approaching Yi Xian, she openly acknowledged his skill and admitted that she wouldn't be able to defeat him. She then inquired about how he had reached such a high level of sword mastery, and if he could share his experiences. With a hint of embarrassment due to their close proximity, Yi Xian noticed the lady's lack of hesitation in asking such a question. In an adorable manner, the lady inquired again if it was okay while addressing him as Dear Mr. Yi. Thinking quickly, Yi Xian suggested that she should join the Kanglin Academy so that they could exchange swordsmanship in the future. The lady readily agreed, and Yi Xian expressed his surprise at her quick acceptance, noting that she didn't even hesitate. As they were making their way back to Kanglin Academy, Jian Chu inquired if the academy provided food and housing. Mu Yun confirmed this, assuring her that they will indeed provide both. Curious about the quality of the food, Jian Chu added that she particularly liked meat. Mu Yun responded confidently, praising Kanglin Academy's food as the best. Upon their return to Kanglin Academy, Yi Xian and the group were greeted by Anji, who had prepared a table with multiple plates full of meat buns. Anji welcomed them with a warm smile, explaining that she had prepared a feast for them and asked if they liked it. However, looking somewhat disappointed at the sight of the meat buns, Jian Chu questioned if this was what they meant by the best food. Mu Yun clarified, stating that this was the best food that Anji could prepare. Later that day, as they gathered on the Kanglin Academy grounds, Mu Yun inquired about Yi Xian's reason for bringing everyone together. Revealing a glowing sword in front of the students, Yi Xian inquired if they wanted it. In response, one of the students expressed a strong desire to own the weapon, recognizing it as a Ming-rank spirit sword. Another student echoed these sentiments, realizing that their cultivation would surely improve with such a weapon in their possession. However, another student interjected, voicing concern about the number of students and the single sword, speculating if the dean was asking them to compete for it. Responding to this concern, Yi Xian clarified that whoever reached the Divine Harmony realm first would be awarded the sword as a prize. Upon hearing this, one student expressed disbelief, explaining that they had only recently reached the Sky realm. Another student shared their frustration at the challenging requirement, while yet another pointed out the 2 stages between the Sky realm and the Divine Harmony realm. In contrast, Yi Jia stared at the spirit sword with hope, noting that her cousin would be proud if she managed to obtain it. Expanding on the matter, Yi Xian announced that there would be a monthly examination, and the top 3 winners would receive an Earth-grade martial art and techniques. Moreover, the first-place winner would receive an additional high-quality weapon. The students of Kanglin celebrated this news with enthusiasm. However, Yi Xian added a twist. The student who came in last place would be expelled from the academy, leaving the students in shock and disbelief. As Yi Xian instructed the students to dismiss, Yi Jia's thoughts became filled with worry. She realized that being expelled from the academy would mean all her efforts would go to waste, and she wouldn't be able to see her cousin anymore. Mu Yun expressed his doubt in Yi Xian's decision, suggesting that it might be too harsh. Understanding the gravity of the situation, Anji voiced her disagreement. She questioned why Yi Xian hadn't consulted with them before making such a decision. She raised concerns about the possibility of students resorting to scheming and even harming each other in their pursuit of personal gain. In response, Yi Xian pointed out that they were in a world where the strong preyed on the weak, and it was better for him to be harsh now than for the students to become vulnerable to others. Hearing this, Anji vehemently disagreed, arguing that this approach would dehumanize the students and could lead to dark consequences. Yi Xian countered by sharing their experiences, recounting encounters with the soldiers of Kangmu Academy, the 9th Mercenary Regiment of the Middle Kingdom, and the Black Flame Army of the Great Cloud Empire. He emphasized that their disciples were like fish on the chopping block compared to such formidable foes. Understanding his concern for their safety, Anji inquired if he didn't want to repeat the tragic fate of the previous disciples. Yi Xian clarified, explaining that if he was harsh with them today, it would prepare them for a future where the enemy might be even more ruthless. He concluded by asking Anji to trust his decision. Still skeptical, Anji expressed her concerns about the students potentially becoming ruthless individuals seeking fame and fortune at any cost. However, Yi Xian assured her, stating that if such a disciple did emerge, they wouldn't be welcome at Kanglin Academy. He stressed that their primary goal was to find ways to make the students stronger. After a moment of contemplation, Anji eventually expressed her agreement with Yi Xian's decision. Addressing the trio, Yi Xian pointed out that they were not yet strong enough compared to the true demons of the Middle Kingdom, emphasizing the significant gap that still existed and their need to work hard. Despite this, he assured them that he would do his best to secure the necessary resources for their growth, but added that they needed to improve rapidly, as it was the only way to withstand their enemy's attack. Jianchu chimed in, praising the might of the Great Cloud Empire and suggesting that it could easily crush them. She estimated that in a direct confrontation, Kanglin Academy would likely have no chance of winning. Furthermore, when factoring in the forces of Kangmu Academy and the Dark World, she concluded that their chances would be even bleaker. Hearing this, Mu Yun pointed out that they had already defeated these forces once, expressing regret that she hadn't witnessed it. However, Jian Chu posed a thought-provoking question about the significance of one victory. She pointed out that if Yi Xian managed to reach the Divine Harmony realm, it would prompt the Middle Kingdom to deploy a powerful figure at the Dharma realm. Supporting her argument, Yi Xian noted that Kanglin Academy currently lacked anyone at the Dharma realm level. Seeing his friend's reactions, Yi Xian emphasized that they must not lose confidence at this critical juncture. With that in mind, he reassured them that there was nothing to worry about and that all they had to do was practice diligently. Later that night, Yi Xian isolated himself at the Kanglin Hall of Spirits. Addressing the late Elder Ji, Yi Xian informed him about the positive progress of Kanglin Academy, highlighting the students' growing strength. Additionally, Yi Xian shared his plans for building a formidable Taoist army, aiming to create the most powerful Taoist soldiers in the Middle Kingdom. His goal was to show that Kanglin Academy was on par with its counterparts in the Middle Kingdom. Yi Xian assured the late Elder Ji that he would take care of Anji, and that he could rest in peace. The following morning, as the day began to dawn, Yi Xian woke up and stretched, enjoying the refreshing feeling of a good night's sleep. Standing at the entrance of the building, the 9th princess commented on his apparent well-rested state, mentioning that she had been waiting for him all night. Hearing this, Yi Xian inquired about when she had arrived. Xiao Jiu responded, revealing that she had been waiting for him since the second half of the night but decided not to wake him up when she saw him sleeping soundly. She then informed him that she had brought him a significant gift and asked if he wanted to see it. Yi Xian eagerly agreed, stating that if it was a great gift, he would naturally want to see it. Upon leaving the building, the 9th princess introduced the regiment in front of them, explaining that it was for him. She mentioned that the soldiers ranged in age from 20 to 30 and were all experienced warriors. Yi Xian responded positively, expressing his gratitude for the favor she had done for him. Addressing the regiment, the 9th princess informed them that they were now under Yi Xian's command and ordered them to pay their respects to him. The regiment complied, kneeling to the ground as they greeted Yi Xian with respect. Satisfied with their response, Yi Xian ordered them to rise. He informed them that from that day onwards, they were members of Kanglin Academy. He pledged to provide them with the best resources and equipment, vowing to help them become the most elite soldiers in Qingzhou. Hearing this, the members of the regiment expressed their gratitude. However, Yi Xian's tone shifted as he informed them that the training they were about to undergo would be rigorous. He explained that there would be a monthly assessment, and the bottom 3 performers would be eliminated, creating a tense atmosphere among the regiment members. Turning to the 9th princess, Yi Xian noted that he would need 3 soldiers each month to replace those who were eliminated. The 9th princess replied playfully, suggesting that it wouldn't be easy to satisfy him. Yi Xian added that they would no longer be under the authority of the royal family, and would follow his orders alone in the future. Hearing this, the 9th princess expressed her disbelief. Yi Xian inquired if it was possible, and the 9th princess asked if he didn't trust her, questioning if he believed she would try to take control later. Yi Xian replied, asserting his trust in her. However, he explained that this Dao army was the foundation of his future plans at Kanglin Academy, and he wanted to keep it under his own command. Still unconvinced, the 9th princess concluded that he didn't trust her despite their history. As the 9th princess began to leave, Yi Xian called out to her, and she noted that he had a knack for making her angry. Yi Xian, however, reached out and held her arm before she could depart, asking why she was upset. The 9th princess replied, explaining that it was not in her nature to be a scoundrel who would steal the fruits of other people's labor. She assured him that she had no intention of interfering with this army in the future. Yi Xian clarified, pointing out that even though these soldiers were now separated from the military, he wanted her to lead them. Blushing slightly, the 9th princess demanded that he refrain from touching her and simply talk. Teasingly, Yi Xian playfully touched her nose, asking if she was feeling shy. Xiao Jiu blushed further but denied being shy, urging him to get down to business. Yi Xian complied, explaining that he had created this Dao army with the purpose of protecting and strengthening Kanglin Academy. He didn't want them to become tools of the nation. Instead, he aimed to align with his original intention. The 9th princess inquired if he was serious, and Yi Xian affirmed his seriousness, praising her skills in strategy and warfare, noting her expertise in the art of war, which assured him that she would make excellent leaders for the Dao soldiers. With a playful punch to his chest, the 9th princess remarked on his clever calculations. She pointed out that he wanted the Dao army to be separate from his royal family's control yet wanted her to train them. Embarrassed, Yi Xian asked if she was willing to take on this role. The 9th princess replied, assuring him that the Dao army belonged solely to Kanglin Academy, with no involvement from the Jiang royal family. However, she expressed her hope that they could lend a hand if the country ever faced trouble in the future. Yi Xian agreed, with the stipulation that the Dao army should not become involved in any internal strife within the Jiang royal family. In response, the 9th princess assured him that it would not happen. Continuing their conversation, the 9th princess inquired if there would be anyone else besides her to train the Daoist army. In response, Yi Xian affirmed her question. Changing their location to the Hall of Virtue, Mu Yuan inquired if Yi Xian and the 9th princess were asking them to train the Daoist army. Yi Xian confirmed this, explaining that the 3 of them were the only ones at Kanglin Academy who could train the soldiers. Expressing his concern, Feng Lan pointed out that training an army was difficult enough, not to mention a Daoist army that could compete with the Great Cloud, Kongmu, and the Dark World. Mu Yuan chimed in, adding that it also required a substantial amount of money to train a military unit. However, Yi Xian assured him that he would take care of the financial aspect. Hearing this, Mu Yuan inquired about Miss Lu's opinion. Miss Lu responded, deciding that she would let them practice the technique of killing qi, which was suitable for soldiers. However, she hesitated to continue her statement. Intrigued, Yi Xian urged her to continue. Miss Lu complied, revealing that the technique was extremely costly. Training this technique for just one soldier alone would cost at least 50 million gold coins, not to mention other expenses. Hearing this, Yi Xian expressed his surprise and disbelief at the cost. However, Miss Lu pointed out that if the soldiers practiced this technique, they would achieve the best results. In the future, they would be among the most crucial figures in the Qingzhou area and potentially one of the most formidable Daoist armies in the celestial realm. However, she emphasized that it would only be possible if he was willing to invest the money. If he didn't have enough funds, progress would be slow. However, Yi Xian immediately disagreed with the idea of taking it slow. He noted that Kanglin Academy couldn't afford to be leisurely, as Kangmu Academy and the Dark World were not going to give them the opportunity to develop slowly. The ninth princess agreed, emphasizing that Kanglin could only develop rapidly, and if resources were insufficient, she could help them. However, Miss Lu pointed out that the royal family had recently been at war, and their treasury wasn't full. She stressed the importance of Kanglin Academy becoming financially self-sufficient. Intrigued and puzzled, both Yi Xian and the ninth princess simultaneously inquired about her suggestion. Miss Lu replied, explaining that it was not practical for them to fund the academy alone. She highlighted that Kanglin Academy had become a major power in the Jiang Kingdom and had the potential to be profitable. However, Yi Xian revealed that they didn't charge any fees for new students because they didn't want to become profit-oriented like Kangmu Academy. Given this situation, he asked for their opinions on how to make a profit. Jiang Chu chimed in, expressing her belief that making a profit was an achievable task. Hearing this, Yi Xian inquired about her suggestions. Jiang Chu replied, noting that she didn't have specific advice but had some experiences to share. Firstly, she suggested that they collect tuition fees from trainees, including living expenses. For those who were particularly poor, there could be appropriate reductions or full exemptions. However, for those from wealthier families, exemptions would not be granted. Secondly, she proposed opening Kanglin Academy to individuals with financial means, allowing them to enter the academy, visit, and even observe the students' training. For her third idea, she suggested exploring the mountain behind Kanglin Academy to search for gold. If there was no gold in the back mountain, they could consider looking at unclaimed mountains. With their eyes gleaming with anticipation, Yi Xian and the ninth princess enthusiastically echoed her words, seemingly excited by the suggestion. Jiang Chu confirmed her words, and Yi Xian encouraged her to provide more suggestions. Jiang Chu complied, adding that they could allow the trainees to venture into the mountains for training and take on mercenary missions to earn money for their own training. This would not only improve the students' skills but also enhance Kanglin Academy's reputation. In response, Yi Xian concluded that her ideas were good. Expressing agreement, the ninth princess instructed her to continue. Complying with her request, Jiang Chu posed a question about the most profitable venture for both families and major powers. In response, Feng Lan admitted that he didn't have the answer to that question. Intrigued by the mystery, Mu Yun couldn't help but inquire for an answer. In response, Jiang Chu revealed that it was collecting protection fees. Hearing this, Feng Lan expressed skepticism, concerned that such a practice might tarnish Kanglin Academy's reputation. Echoing this sentiment, Mu Yuan highlighted that it would make them no different from Kangmu Academy if they pursued that idea. Taking their concerns into account, the ninth princess turned to Yi Xian for his opinion. In response, Yi Xian acknowledged the merit of the idea but noted that it could be perceived as bullying the weaker parties, which contradicts the late Elder Ji's philosophy. Hearing this, Jiang Chu proposed an alternative approach, suggesting cooperation instead. She proposed that every year, families and major powers pay a certain fee, allowing their children to come to Kanglin Academy as non-students for study and visits. Exceptional students could be transferred if they excel. Expanding on the concept, Jiang Chu explained that this approach would make families and major powers seeking protection more willing to participate. Hearing this, Yi Xian sought the opinions of those present. In response, Miss Lu emphasized that their responsibility was teaching, leaving Yi Xian to handle the financial aspect. Anji added her perspective, emphasizing the importance of fairness to prevent damage to Kanglin Academy's reputation. Jiang Chu concurred, reiterating the need for fairness and the importance of not being too greedy. She also suggested controlling the number of available spots each year to make them appear more precious. Impressed by Jiang Chu's extensive knowledge on the topic, Yi Xian immediately offered her the position of Chief Financial Officer at Kanglin Academy, entrusting her with all matters related to money. Jiang Chu sought clarification, questioning whether he was genuinely offering her this role. Yi Xian confirmed, explaining that while she could keep the money that she earned, she would need to bring it out for the Kanglin Academy when necessary. Replying to this, Jiang Chu pointed out that managing finances was no easy task and inquired about what she would receive in return. In response, Yi Xian promised to spar with her and share his knowledge of swordsmanship. In addition, she would receive 10% of the annual earnings. In response to his offer, Jiang Chu's eyes lit up with excitement and anticipation. She vividly expressed her eagerness, likening the prospect to a fortune waving right before her eyes. Filled with enthusiasm, Jiang Chu readily accepted the proposal. Yi Xian expressed his satisfaction with her decision, acknowledging that the Academy's income is now guaranteed. The ninth princess agreed, feeling relieved that a significant obstacle had been overcome. With their money-making plan in place, Miss Lu informed them that she would begin training the Dao army as soon as funds became available. Yi Xian agreed, expressing his confidence that they would soon have an invincible Dao army. Turning to Anji, Yi Xian appointed her as the head of internal affairs at Kanglin Academy. However, he reminded her not to neglect her own training. Satisfied with the arrangement, Anji responded with a bright smile, agreeing to her new responsibilities. Not wanting to be left out, Mu Yun asked if Yi Xian had any significant roles for him and Bai Zai. However, before Yi Xian could contemplate their roles, a voice interrupted, requesting him to wait. With a mysterious smile that left Mu Yun looking uncertain, Jiang Chu revealed that she knew what Bai Zai and Mu Yun were meant to do. Mu Yun responded with caution, asserting that they wouldn't engage in activities that went against their principles. Intrigued, Jiang Chu questioned his unusual reaction, expressing her belief that Bai Zai and Mu Yun could make an effective team to travel throughout Qingzhou in search of talented individuals to bring to Kanglin Academy. Mu Yun sought clarification, asking if this was her way of instructing them to become recruiters. He then inquired about Yi Xian's stance on this matter. Displaying his hesitance, Bai Zai pointed out that he wasn't particularly skilled at socializing and questioned whether Yi Xian genuinely wanted him to take on this role. After a brief moment of consideration, Yi Xian leaned in towards the duo, emphasizing the importance of their mission for the sake of Kanglin Academy. He assured them that they could always reach out to him if any issues arose. Expressing their trust in Yi Xian, both Bai Zai and Mu Yun agreed to undertake Jiang Chu's suggested task. Later that night, as Yi Xian approached the fifth-floor master and indicated he had something to discuss, the elder greeted him with congratulations. Perplexed, Yi Xian asked why he was being congratulated. In response, the fifth-floor master invited him to sit. He then explained that he was congratulating Yi Xian on his victories against the Great Cloud Empire, Kongmu Academy, and the Dark World. However, Yi Xian countered, noting that they hadn't exactly lost, and the outcome was not a clear-cut victory for Kanglin Academy and the Jiang Kingdom. In response, the fifth-floor master expressed his relief, acknowledging Yi Xian's ability to reach such a conclusion. However, the elder advised Yi Xian not to rush into attaining the level of the Divine Harmony realm. Understanding the elder's counsel, Yi Xian explained that reaching the Divine Harmony realm would prompt the enemy to send even stronger individuals, potentially at the Dharma realm, or even the peak of the Dharma realm, to target him. Frustrated by this limitation, Yi Xian vowed not to let them get away with it. The elder agreed with his sentiments, and inquired about Yi Xian's next plan. Yi Xian replied, stating his intention to take the opportunity to stabilize his current realm. Additionally, he wanted to continue developing Kanglin Academy in the meantime. The elder voiced his agreement but cautioned Yi Xian to be wary of the main branch of Kanglin Academy in the Middle Kingdom Shenzhou. Perplexed, Yi Xian asked if the elder was suggesting that they might plot against Kanglin Academy in Jiang. The elder explained that the previous Kanglin Academy in Jiang was so impoverished that the main Kanglin Academy had little interest in it. However, the situation had changed, and the momentum of Kanglin Academy in Jiang was now robust. The elder warned that if this growth continued, it would inevitably become a superpower, potentially arousing envy. He cautioned Yi Xian not to work too hard and let others reap the benefits of his labor. Yi Xian understood the elder's point and hoped that the main Kanglin Academy would not harbor such intentions. Otherwise, he added that he wouldn't mind having one more enemy if they did. Changing the topic, Yi Xian mentioned that he had a favor to ask. He revealed a shiny card containing 500 gold coins and explained that he needed 5 flying swords. The elder agreed to handle it, and Yi Xian thanked him for his assistance. As Yi Xian was making his way back to Kanglin Academy, his footsteps abruptly halted as the voice of someone remarking on his life caught his attention. Pausing to scrutinize the elder standing before him, Yi Xian inquired if he was the senior who had accompanied Lun Xiu previously. In response, the elder warned Yi Xian against thinking he was invincible just because he had a sword immortal backing him. He emphasized that the Yin family was a 10,000-year-old lineage, and Langxiu possessed the bloodline of a martial god, making sword immortals insignificant in their eyes. With a menacing tone, the elder cautioned Yi Xian that if he dared to approach Langxiu again, he would bring about his own destruction. However, Yi Xian retorted, expressing his belief that Langxiu was not someone interested in such matters and that her family background alone wouldn't make him distance himself from her. In the blink of an eye, the elder closed in on Yi Xian with his qi-infused hand, questioning if Yi Xian truly believed he wouldn't dare to touch him. Yi Xian questioned the elder's intentions and whether Langxiu had allowed him to do this. With a vein bulging from his forehead, the elder ready for a punch, demanding that Yi Xian refrain from using Langxiu's name to pressure him, as he disliked such tactics. However, another elder intervened, inquiring about the situation. Recognizing the newcomer, the elder expressed his indignation. Addressing Yi Xian, the elder warned him that if he didn't comply with his demands, he would eventually face the consequences. With his words delivered, the elder departed from the scene. Addressing the intervening elder, Yi Xian expressed his gratitude for the assistance and inquired about the elder's identity. In response, the elder revealed that he hailed from the Yin family. Curious, Yi Xian inquired if the previous elder was testing him, adding that he believed he performed reasonably well. He then made a humble request, asking if the elder could put in a good word for him upon returning to the Yin family. The elder commended Yi Xian's audacity and expressed his surprise. He inquired if Yi Xian was aware that the Yin family valued not only individual talent but also bloodline and background. Yi Xian acknowledged the Yin family's criteria but maintained that it didn't represent Langxiu. The elder assessed Yi Xian, stating that while his talent was decent, it wasn't enough for the Yin family, especially in consideration of Langxiu. He advised Yi Xian not to make things difficult for the lady, and took his leave while cautioning Yi Xian to take care of himself. Reflecting on his situation, Yi Xian acknowledged his lack of a prestigious background or supportive family but took solace in the power of his sword, Qin Feng. With this sword in his hand, Yi Xian declared that he could traverse the heavens and the world. He believed he was no less than anyone else, and hoped that Langxiu would wait for him. Unbeknownst to him, Langxiu watched from a distance, agreeing silently that she would indeed wait for him.